This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Tournament Dustbowl. And yes, we have been seeing a bit of this map recently, but the games have pretty much all been good, and we got some tournaments coming up in the near future, at least some tournaments I'm going to be checking out. And, we'll get to see some other maps there soon enough. As the yellow Blackhand in the north, this is Senna. And kicking it on the south side of the map, Plain Cyan, a fan favorite, also Blackhand. This is Futurama. Futurama versus Senna. Two players that I feel like we don't see play against each other all that much, but I'm excited to see what these guys are doing with Blackhand on this map. Before things get too crazy, do want to give a shout out to the folks who support the channel over on Patreon. Always appreciated, never obligated. Oz Media, The Arbiter, Admiral Akbar, Deadly Shadow, Dimitri K, and Anoxic. As well as newcomers Lily R, Breath of Fire, Shanrox, Spud, Brian, and Media Storm. Big thanks to those folks. And, we got some tournaments coming up, but they're, replays much from the second half of 2021. I haven't been able to do a lot of tournament coverage in the last 3 or 4 months, and I've got a bunch of stuff sitting on my hard drive that I've been meaning to get to and haven't had the time to do it. So hopefully that stuff will be coming soon. And, of course, there's also the Champions League, so we're going to be taking a look at a series from that, maybe a couple of series, kind of from the early on. Wait a second. This is a mirror, but one guy is actually missing a refinery down in the south. Futurama with no refinery. He might have something else planned, and it is going to be a flame tank. I saw the Blackhand squad back in his base, and that means it had already been sold off. First Scorpion tank gets targeted down these bikes, getting eliminated as it looks like Senna building and selling off structures to get additional cabals out onto the field. The first refinery getting targeted down. Senna sells it off, just cuts his losses, trying to put as much damage as possible out onto this flame tank, but he just can't kill it fast enough. The War Factory getting targeted down, and can Senna save it? Just barely. No, it does fall. The flame tank exploding, and Futurama may very well have a second flame tank that he managed to sneak out. He sold off that operation center relatively early, as that Blackhand squad was hunting around his base pretty early on. One refinery and a War Factory down. Suddenly Futurama has gone from being on the back foot, from being a little bit down in this game on economy and potentially production, to now soaring ahead with his one War Factory able to pump out units. On top of that, it looks like he's going to be able to burn down the tip spike of Senna. A fantastic start for Futurama. He is primed to run away with this game, but he is not so far away with this game that it is lights out for Senna. In the mid-game, Senna can certainly equalize things up. Losing the tib spike sucks, but it's not, unrecoverable, certainly. He can even strike back in a similar manner and attack Futurama. But we do have one War Factory beginning to now produce units for Senna in the north. And, he could choose to go double War Factory right out of the gate. Futurama may be going for a refinery at his natural expansion, perhaps a bit more quickly than Senna. No, it's actually going to be a secret shrine, so he goes barracks and secret shrine. Even with this, Senna is now back on his feet with his economy. He just is not escaping with this game himself. He has been reset, and now we'll see how this secret shrine plays into things, because Futurama has chosen the tech route and put himself perhaps a full refinery behind in the economy. How will Futurama play to this? He might just try and play a little bit defensive and only use fast, agile groups out on the field. He goes into another operation center, so a super delay on any additional economy, and this gets scouted once again by Senna. He's got the forces running around Futurama's base. He's got it figured out, and the second refinery drops at Senna's expansion. A touch far away from the Tiberium, but not so much that it's a problem. An additional flame tank sneaks on out for Futurama. Senna bouncing back with his better setup from the first part of the game. He had 2 refineries to 1, and now he's got 4 refineries to 2, but there are at least 2 flame tanks out on the field for Futurama, 1 heading through the middle of the map, 1 at least in the southern section of the map. A couple of bikes cycling down to the south side for Senna. He may entirely miss these 2 flame tanks. He's going to have an opportunity to jump on them, but I think he's just barely going to miss it. His own bike cycling into the base of Futurama. Meanwhile, the flame tank targeting down power plants on the outside. There's a laser turret here ready to tango, but that's not nearly enough to shut down this flame tank before it does a bit of damage. Rocket Squad's getting some shots off, and it looks like this Scorpion going to help finish off that flame tank, losing only a power plant and the laser turret. No additional refineries there, but the second punch is surely the thing that Futurama is hoping to do the real damage with. Senna looks like has at least somewhat backed off. The MCV under threat. Laser fences get called in, and now the forces surrounding and swarming this flame tank as Senna trying to shut down this aggression. His Scorpions get the shots off, and it's going to be up to the Rocket Squads and the Black Hand members to get the kill on this MCV or to try and trade their lives as efficiently as possible. But 3 Shredder turrets going up. Senna holding off this aggression with hardly any losses at all. An additional flame tank on the north side of the map trying to sneak in for Futurama, but there's the Shredder turret. We saw the Tech Lab go down at the natural expansion earlier in this game, and Charged Particle Beams has already finished up. So here's the additional flame tank. Small wins for Futurama ever since that first flame tank shut down a refinery, shut down a war factory. It is all... Oh, and he gets the catalyst missile as well. Futurama reeling from the pain that Senna has been dealing him in the last 3 minutes of this game. Another flame tank tries to sneak through the defenses, but it only tags a bit of health off of that refinery, and not even the tech center will go down. No, it'll get close. This flame tank might get eliminated, as no, the tech center goes down just in time, and Senna resets the clock on the tech of Futurama, resets the clock on the tech of Senna. Double MCV is a hell of a drug, though, and it looks like more flame tanks coming in for Futurama, trying to burn down an upgraded power plant, unable to gain any real value from the majority of these flame tanks. And now Futurama is just kind of down on economy. It looks like he was able to clean up 1 refinery there on the left side of the base. Another flame tank sneaking through the defenses. Futurama just sending tank after tank, just burning down as many buildings. And he may actually be able to stop the most expensive, important 2 refineries for the next 10 minutes of the game. But no, Senna shuts that attack down. The flame tank gets eliminated. At least 1 refinery at the 3rd location stands, and 1 refinery at the natural expansion. So the economy of Senna hobbles along. Maybe hobbles equally to the economy of Futurama that just never really got up and running. I think Futurama maybe at one point had 3 working refineries, and then he got clobbered by a catalyst missile, and now he's finally back up to 3 working refineries. And that's pretty darn close to where Senna is as well. Multi-MCV, well, it's something that everyone can participate in and everyone loves to participate in. Up on tech, finally up to that Redeemer engineering facility. Both of these guys almost certainly going hand in hand as they look for Redeemers to save them. Flame tanks emerging for Senna. We saw one heading out from the base. Is he going to send it right down the middle? Yes, right down the middle in the path in between the main base and the 3rd, directly for the MCV. The laser fence doesn't come down, so what will this flame tank accomplish? For now, it's just burning down Shredder turrets, somewhat aimlessly, somewhat pointlessly, going for individual Shredder turrets, and not even the center hub from the start. Well, this is double MCV versus double MCV it seems a couple of Scorpion tanks managing to slip by the defenses, target down a weakened Harvester, and start going for the others that are working diligently away. The Redeemer steps out, an Engineer being added on almost certainly, as I'm not sure what that hiccup was. That wasn't a radar jamming missile. The MCV's literally within spitting distance of each other, or within laser distance of each other, it seems, as Futurama burns down the first obelisk of Senna and drops his own obelisk, ready to chase Senna away back up to the northern part of this corridor between their two bases. No third base for me, says Futurama. Senna selling off his Redeemer engineering facility just in time as his own Redeemer emerges, and double obelisk gets deployed to the front lines. A flame tank scooting out onto the right side. A second flame tank will follow it as Futurama looking to distract on the left side of the map while he burns down Senna with a backstab on the northern side of the map. A mess of Shredder turrets, a Command and Conquer Christmas tree, if you will, as I think that was even the Prophet Kane himself who called it that. Flame tank sneaking in the north. Another Rage Gen fires off in the south. There's so far to drive past Shredder turrets before Futurama can find any value for this flame tank, and he can't even get anything. There's just too many Shredder turrets. The distance is too far to drive before you hit any place of value. Another obelisk gets deployed. One purifier on the front line, but it gets sniped. There's two engineers standing by for Senna to go for the capture of that husk. Another flame tank heading in for Futurama, looking for the value. 3 obelisks to 1, a Redeemer on each side, and innumerable Shredder turrets just going ham on each other as Futurama's flame tank in the north looking desperately for something, anything that he can burn down, and he's just not finding it. A war factory on the front line, sold off before it does very much at all. Another Rage Gen fires off as this purifier, unaffected by it, doesn't start burning down the MCB or something. The Tech Lab gets sniped again! Finally, Futurama finding some kind of value for his flame tanks, now going for power plants, trying to cut off this at the infrastructure in the back, and Senna loses his Redeemer. Is this it? As it finally lights out, did Senna somehow run out of gas and is going to have to fall back, retreat, and fall apart as it looks like another flame tank gets stopped by the Shredder turrets and the obelisk at the original main base of Senna. The Purifier gets the kill, and the third base is secured for now, but for how long? One guy has a Redeemer, and one guy does not. Senna says the answer, as always, when you play Black Hand, man spam. And Futurama agrees. He turns his Redeemer around. He is cutting and running, looking to escape. Fires off one last Rage Gen to try and get some value. It looks like the Purifier does go down. That's the big chunk of the armor remaining for Senna. He's just got base defenses, and he has to rebuild that Tier 3, get another War Factory out onto the front lines to get anything out quickly to stop this Redeemer. Otherwise, it's just going to be obelisks. Beautiful snipe there by Futurama, taking the time to clean up that husk, not giving Senna the opportunity to come back for the capture. Long distance harvesting. Meanwhile, Senna keeps his harvesters and his refineries close, but he's unable to make any progress against Futurama. Futurama holding the line. The Command & Conquer Christmas tree grows ever bigger. This Christmas tree can emerge from just about any angle and can light up from almost any angle and in any direction. The Redeemer is undoubtedly getting low on health. Futurama building his own web, his own network of shredders. Firing off a Rage Gen, just always a thing to do as you retreat away from the front lines. And that Redeemer, if only there was an EMP on the side of Senna, he may have been able to just lock that down completely and go for the kill. Senna activating nearly every unit against this. Oh, that's just infantry running through the Tiberium fields. And Futurama looking to secure his future with an actual third base economy. Although at this point, he only has one active base on the map. He was long distance harvesting. And it's going to be a slugfest on the left side, barely funding. It looks like Futurama is going to try and just walk through this infinite nest, but like, this is actually a problem. Senna now has so many Shredder turrets that a single Redeemer might actually have legitimate trouble breaking through. Oh my gosh, another Redeemer engineering facility. Senna is starting to make it happen. Futurama can't bust through quickly enough. He doesn't have the firepower. He hasn't had the economy to build an actual army. Everything rests heavy upon the shoulders of this Redeemer. And Senna steps forward. If Futurama could snipe that MCV, that might be a game winner to shut down this build radius, this additional production on the front lines. He would be able to slowly whittle away those forces. No, it's not another flame tank in the north. It's just more Cabal squads. And Harvester's long-distance mining stealing from Futurama as Senna drops an obelisk right on the front door of Futurama. And purely Shredder turrets have halted the advance of Futurama, and now the fortunes reverse in the same way that Senna tried to stand out and step out against the forces of Futurama in the south and got stopped. Senna has been stopping Futurama with his army of base defenses. An MCV for an MCV in the north and in the south. They're trading MCVs, one with flames and one with lasers. And that is how a Black Hand mirror goes. I'm not sure if this one is really coming down to the Tib spike, one burned down and one still remaining. But perhaps so much money will, or no money will remain in just a few moments, that it will come down to the Tiberium spike in the corner. Who has one and who does not? A Hand of Nod gets burned down. 3 power plants are here, but is that going to be enough to completely sabotage Senna? No, the Redeemer is already out, making its way towards this flame tank. The flame tank is on a short-lived life. Sell off of 2 power plants, okay. I mean, Senna's already in low power mode. Selling off power plants does not seem like an ideal strategy, but the Redeemer will hold the line. The extra damage output will, I guess, just chase away this flame tank a little bit sooner, and Senna continuing to push forward, selling off his mass of Shredder turrets and forcing Futurama to now go on the defensive, build his own army of Shredder turrets. And I think up north we saw a flame tank burning down a harvester, basically, bit by bit, as slow of a process as a flame tank burning down a harvester is. And that harvester stuck around long enough to get burned down by a flame tank. And finally, this refinery will fall. Futurama has tried maybe 3, maybe 4 times to get the kill on that refinery, and he just now has managed to do it. These two just back and forth. Senna opening with the more standard build in the beginning. Futurama going for the flame rush and ultimately doing just enough damage to even things up. And that has been the story for most of this game. Futurama, in theory, has the better setup, and then Senna has the better setup, and then Futurama comes by and just barely manages to equal things out and make them even. Harvesters going down on both sides. At this point, I think there's so much chaos that neither player has been doing a particularly good job of microing their harvesters. Possibly Senna was looking to just steal Tiberium away from Futurama. If it's inside of his harvesters and then Senna kills them, that's still kind of a win. And then Futurama kills them, that's still kind of a win for Senna. Flame Tank gets sniped. Once again, an obelisk getting the kill in the north. Senna is going to have to contend with the artillery of Futurama, those Spectres being able to put out damage that is unanswered by Senna. Futurama sniping that War Factory early on has been sort of an omen of how this game will go. Senna keeps having to rebuild his tech, rebuild his production, and Futurama has been able to keep most of that around, albeit at a distance, and not always on the front line like Futurama, like Senna has. Spectres largely missing their shots. Once again, the battle of the Shredder turrets on the front line. And Futurama is just expanding to Senna's main base. What is going on? Senna comes down to the south to Futurama's original main base. Not that there's much Tiberium there. And he starts setting up shop, so Futurama says, that gives me an idea. He heads north. The only difference is Futurama maintains that Tiberium spike, so far behind in economy for so much of the game. But at least Futurama has maintained that Tiberium spike, and possibly maintaining this Redeemer in this fight as Senna loses another Redeemer. He probably doesn't even have the engineering facility as Futurama's Redeemer goes up to a single vet status, and he is going to be able to burn this down. Where are the rockets? Where are the purifiers? The answer to the call last time was shredder turrets, and the time before that it was rockets and purifiers, but now there is no answer to the call. Futurama zeroing in on Senna's MCV, and Senna falling to pieces on the front line, trying to backstab, but getting caught by a flame tank and shredder turrets. The never-ending wet nest, the never-ending web has stood tall, and Senna taps out, types the GG, and leaves the game. Futurama takes the match. 20 minutes back and forth. This was not one of those creative builds that you never see coming, but look at that. Futurama way behind in the eco by a significant margin for much of that game. By the end of it, only 20,000 credits behind, but really starting to climb and starting to gain on Senna when Senna started flatlining there around the 15-minute mark. Futurama takes that one, although Senna certainly gave him a run for his money. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the constant barrage of attacks, and that will do it for this game. Turns out the flame tank backstabs are pretty darn good. Thank you very much for watching. This is Sybert, signing out.